Today we're looking at digital pianos from two amazing manufacturers, Yamaha and Kawai. We're looking at the KDP series and the YDP series. Two relatively new products, the YDP-145, which just came out here in 2022, and the KDP-120, which was a 2021 release from Kawai.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in beautiful downtown San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We appreciate your support and we love to interact with you. We have two great products, two great manufacturers, a rich history between the two because they actually once
used to work together.
Yeah, Mr. Kawai were part of the same Yamaha family. And then, through a series of events, Kawai broke off, Mr. Yamaha passed away. Kawai and Yamaha are the two premier pianos of Japan. When you look at their 9-foot pianos and, some of their upper tier pianos, they're considered some of the best in the entire world. Highly sought after, incredible instruments. They bring you all their 9-foot, the Yamaha CFX and the Kawai SKEX, they bring those to you at an affordable range in their products that are, sub $1,500, which is, I think, an incredible product offering. And really the spirit behind both these companies is how do we offer the most in any package that says our name on it? How do we offer the most for that beginning player, for that, that hobbyist who wants to take something to the office or, the college student going away? How do we package and continue to pump better value into these product offerings? And you've been around in the industry for a little bit. Tell me about the YDP series. Tell me about Kawai KDP series.
These series are like their entry line digital pianos, and they're wonderful instruments because starting with the very first digital piano I ever played was the Clavinova, and it had 3 sounds in it. 8-bit machine, so the samples in it were extremely boxy. They sounded like an AM speaker in a car radio from the mid-60s. That's right where they were at, right there. And at that time I thought, you know what? This is a pretty good practice piano simulator. And ever since then, I had a couple years on that first Clavinova, and I ended up just using the top. It did have MIDI. So as sound modules came along, I changed out the sound, but it played fine. But the idea was that finally instrument manufacturers, and particularly piano instrument manufacturers like Kawai and Yamaha, were putting out a digital piano that to me seemed like in the engineers and the creation team, they were trying to make the absolute best grand piano simulator. Because when digital first came out, games hit real big time, and flight simulators were real big with anyone that got a computer. And the idea of a simulator, to me, I thought that's a better approach toward a digital piano. Of course, this is like 35 years ago. But today, in this day and age, they're actually building an instrument that is like a grand piano, but they don't even call it a grand piano simulator. They're almost exactly in headphones. Playing any of these 3 instruments is light years ahead from where it was 30 plus years ago.
Yeah, and it's neat to see the whole product range too. When you look at either Kawai or Yamaha and you go, hey, I want to see the most expensive digital piano that they have, and then compare it here to these are the lower priced items. I know they're still not cheap, but it's you're looking at in the 145 from Yamaha, it's $12.99. The Kawai KDP120 did have a price increase recently. It's $14.99 now. But you look at product offering through that whole product catalog that they have, and you see the hybrid instruments that both Yamaha and Kawai make, and really you get so close. You get a full action. You get these digital samples that are incredible. It's almost like
machines.
It's almost like you're there, and then you see that over the years that technology has trickled down to their entry line instruments, and so what you're left with are these incredible product offerings, especially in 2022, the 145 coming out from Yamaha, in 2021, the KDP120, which was a smash home run for Kawai. really incredible sounding instruments. You get the SKEX sound on the Kawai, so that's the $200,000 9-foot piano from Kawai, the Shigeru Kawai. You get that whole sample on there. You get their virtual technician, 13 different parameters that you can go in and kind of set and make your own, and really transform the sound of that 9-foot piano to be like, hey, I want it a little darker, I want it a little lighter, I want the the dampers to respond this way when I'm pedaling. I want the room to be a big room, or I want it to be a small room. All these little small things that make, I would say, they make, to your point about the simulator, they're like, okay, what would it feel like to fly in rain now, or what would it feel like to fly at night? And it really kind of changes the experience and say, prepare me for the real world. This is what this. It makes it a little more fun. It says, I want to create the space that I'm in.
It does, and the only real complaint I have about the KDP and the YDP at these, and this is a real spoil rotten observation. They have flat keys. Mm-hmm. There's no texturing on the YDP-145, and there's no texturing on that KDP-120. And after playing on digital pianos that have just textured keys, and it's like, man, this is a nice thing. And whether it's water or moisture absorbent depends too, whether you're going to like the keys or not. But 20 years ago, no one cared about the key tops. I mean, this is a thing now. Hey, these are. And over the years, you hear people sampling a digital piano. It'd be nice if they felt more like wood, and finally the manufacturers are getting to where they can throw that feature down at really not adding a huge cost, because they could always have made that thing, but it would have cost a lot more money to go in there and specifically put those grains or the on the key tops, and that's just one of the features.
Yeah, and so the primary difference between these two models that we're looking at, and as you move up, of course, you'll get nicer keys in both these lines. But between the 145 and the KDP-120, the first thing I noticed is the speaker sounds. So you have two 20-watt speakers on the KDP-120, so a little bit more presence, a little more wattage. 2 by 8 watts on the YDP, so 16 watts total versus the 40 watts total. So that right there is a pretty big difference in what you're hearing in the room, what fills up the room, kind of the presence of the sound of the sample. But if a lot of times what we realize is these instruments are going in bedrooms, they're going in apartments, and headphones is the primary source of listening to it. And with the headphones, both these sound incredible. Really fill up the sample. The new YDP-145 got a new CFX sampling in it as well. So both of these have been upgraded to like the most modern sample that they have. And the Kawai, it's the harmonic EX sampling on it. And so, a little bit of difference there. The controller of using the apps, so Smart Pianist app.
That's the other thing, is how far the technology has moved down, because these are essentially like their entry line digital pianos for both of them. And they both have separate apps that allow you to go in and get more out of the keyboard.
Yeah, a lot of times piano manufacturers, or not just all instrument manufacturers at this point, have been asked to, hey, how do we bring this into the 21st century? How do we really create a lot of value besides the instrument you're getting? And so a lot of money in the last 10 years has been spent on creating applications that enhance the playing ability. And at first, it was only available in the high-end clavinovas, and it was, you had to have the special clavinova to use this app. But as Yamaha has progressed, they've like, hey, let's make the Smart Pianist available on all of our keyboards. I think it starts all the way at the P45 or P125, allows you to kind of unlock the potential of the unit within an application on your iPad or on an Android tablet. Same story with Kawai. Piano Remote is one of their more recent ones. We did a video on it, but that unlocks the potential and kind of lets you unlock that virtual technician application as well. So you're able to really go in and fine tune some different. Right. It's really nice on instruments like this, because one of the bigger gripes about this is there was always only a couple buttons to select between all the sounds. And I wanted to change the action. You had to like click through menus and look at the manual. It's a lot easier if it's plugged in to your application. The one big difference between these two, the Yamaha is going to have to be plugged into your device. It's USB to host, so plugged into an iPad or plugged into an Android. The Kawai has Bluetooth MIDI, which means that you can go in and actually select to connect it wirelessly. So that's a nice feature set to the Kawai's versatility. But yeah, there was that price increase on the KDP. Originally, I believe it was $12.99 2 years ago or a year ago. With shipping costs and logistics, it has bumped up to $14.99. But really, I think both these are aimed at that same price category. But let's take a listen to the samples. That's going to be the biggest difference between these two. Of course, they have the different actions. Yamaha action is going to be the GHS, the graded hammers, so heavier to lighter, and the actions. The Kawai is the responsive hammer 2 action, which is also a very nice action, not their entry level. Where I think Yamaha's the GHS is their entry level for the P45, the YDPs. But Kawai does the responsive hammer 2, also a weighted action, really a great feeling playing instrument. So let's listen to both the samples, and we'll come back and talk about a couple more differences between the Kawai and the Yamaha.
Well, Patrick, you can notice a difference in a sound card.
You really can tell the difference between, how two manufacturers go at putting their best instrument into the unit, because they're very different, and not different. Right or wrong. It's kind of like a player's preference, and so listening to them fill up the room, I think my ear really liked the 120's speaker sound is just a little bit bigger, but I really do like what Yamaha did with that port.
That kind of gives you an invisible kind of delivery system. Like most pianos kind of have this invisible sound delivery system, and you really do get that just by having a ported. Yeah,
so there's a hole underneath the unit on the player's right side underneath, and you can see it's got a little plastic case over it, but it's a ported sound hole, and it's really just to have a different release of sound that the speakers are doing at a different angle, and kind of just to help with the overall presence. So really kind of a cool, neat thing that they're trying to figure out, how do we get the most out of this instrument.
Right. The other thing I wanted to mention is that all these YDP and the KDP that we're talking about, and then earlier we talked about the 165, they have one thing in common. And I think that's the manufacturer doesn't really want you taking this up on a stage, because they didn't put professional connections on it. If they did, this would be perfect for a small gig. But there's no separate left and right outputs to go into a PA system. And I'm thinking that they want you to buy an upper graded model that is more designed for that and is more designed for being moved around. And the reason why I mention that is I've had times where I've had to use my old Clavinova at gigs. And whenever you take something that's designed for the residence or the home onto the stage, it kind of stands out a little bit because you can tell it's not made. Yeah, it doesn't look right. But when you play it, and listen, it sounds fine, but I've noticed every time I've seen a guy playing a home model digital piano on a stage, I wasn't the only one, there's always something rigged up with the pedals, or there's something rigged up with the connection to the PA, because those things don't always afford the portability and transfer to it. And so
speaking of portability, they're both under 85 pounds, 83 and 81 pounds, which makes it a nice addition to moving around very easily. They both play great. Again, an action is a player's choice. What would you say the action difference between the two is? One harder, one softer? I know they both have. You can go in and change the settings.
You can go in and change the settings, and I did not do that. And I probably wanted to have a little bit of maybe set it just a tad lighter on the Kawai, because I like the sound on the Kawai, but it seemed like it was bigger and rounder than the Yamaha. But at the same time, this thing cut through. It's EQing within its box. It really cuts through, and it has less power.
Yeah. So, and I want to talk about ergonomics on this, because it's really just how these are both set up. They come with a bench. They come with the accurate stand that's with them. The 3 pedals. It's all ready to go. So that you're not reaching up or reaching down.
Or reaching too far down where you have this or you have this.
And with X stands and the different sizes of portable instruments, sometimes that doesn't happen, and you're left trying to figure out, hey, how do I get this?
These are perfect. They come set up. They have 3 pedals. You can get your legs underneath it, and you can swing your legs around like you were on an upright or a grand piano.
So 2 great, fantastic products, the YDP-145, the KDP-120, 2 great manufacturers, Kawai and Yamaha. We definitely recommend seeing both of the offerings in any price range if you're looking in this digital piano line. Both these companies are very well respected, have great product offerings, very similarly priced items, and again have a rich history together. But we wanted to highlight both these as the newer line of their entry line digital pianos, as something that maybe you are interested in, or you're looking to buy something for your student or for yourself. These would be a great place to look and to starting your exploration of what's the right digital piano for me. If you guys have had the opportunity to play either of these or own a YDP or KDP, please leave some comments. I know a lot of people would appreciate hearing from other viewers like you. What's the right instrument maybe for me, or why do the people like this one versus that one? Those comments will be very helpful for potential buyers.
Share your shopping experience.
Yeah. Well, this is Ted Barcelou. I'm Patrick Marr with Alamo Music. Again, find us online at alamomusic.com, and make sure you're subscribed to see more great content. We love making it and bringing it for you guys.